Great. So, welcome to Enter the Fairy Realm. This is Andrea Dumbecki, and I'm excited to be here with you guys on Friday night, celebrating the fairies and connecting with the fairies. I love to hold these classes because I always receive lots of great energy healing and messages from the fairies. My name is Andrea Dumbecki, and my website is Angel Fairy Healing. For those of you who don't know me, I work deeply with the fairy realm and the angel realm, and I love to hold these classes to help everybody to connect and to learn tools that they can use on a regular basis to enrich their lives. I'm also a fairy artist, author, and I do fairy readings. I started doing angel work years ago, and then the fairies started to communicate with me more and more, and the joyous energies were so amazing that I couldn't resist working with them regularly. I was guided to start these classes to help us to really bridge the gap between fairies and humans. And I feel as we all start to work with the fairies, we are bringing in amazing energies. We're bringing in environmental healing, healing for the planet, ourselves, and also a shift in consciousness. So let's take a second now to set the space for the class, and I welcome everyone, no matter where you live on the planet. We are all together in spirit, and I do feel a lot of you are beautiful kindred souls. So let's now set the space for class. And I'd like you to take a deep breath and close your eyes, and we're going to now release all stress, any lingering thoughts, anything that's been on your mind, any distractions. Release those. And send a wave of love to the fairy realm. Open your heart and set the intention that for the next hour or so that you are going to be open and receptive to the healing messages and energies of the fairy realm. Connect with the fairies now. They are on a slightly higher dimension, and let them clear away any stress in your aura and help you to be fully present with them, fully present and receptive to the messages and energy healing that they have available to you. The fairies would like to work with each and every one of you on a deeper level, and I find that the fairies often go underappreciated. A lot of us know about angels, and we're more comfortable with things like that, and I first started working with angels, but I found that the fairies started to come through too for me, and they worked in a different way. They were much more physical, much more into earth healing, feeling in harmony with our body, connecting with the magic of Gaia and the plant kingdom, and their gifts were amazing, and the energy was amazing. I am from New York City, and I now live in the Pacific Northwest, and even in New York, when I first started working with the fairies, I would mostly connect with the fairies of house plants and things like that. And then when I moved to the Pacific Northwest, where we have lots of old growth forests, lots of gardens, my fairy work deepened. The fairies would visit me more, the messages were louder and clearer, and then I started my journey to doing more and more fairy art classes and channeling. When I work with the fairies, I get such amazing positive energy that for me it's kind of irresistible. So, Carol, please keep me posted that you can hear me. If I go silent, please let me know. We had a little technical difficulty earlier, but I think the fairies are just making us work for it, really commit to connecting with them. And speaking of that, sometimes when I do fairy classes, they'll certain people will get lost and kind of really have to work to find the place. And that even happened to me once, where I was going to a fairy class and the fairies like hid my purse and the directions and somehow brought me there. So it's kind of funny the things that happen when we, the day of fairy class. Earlier today, I was at the park and I knew I was doing class tonight, and I started to find magical things. I found stick wands, the frogs were singing, there were lots of acorns and oak trees, and I just noticed that my heart and soul was more open to nature. And usually you'll feel that the day of fairy class or a few days after that, your soul will just be more aware of the magic of nature. Maybe a special bird will visit you, or a leaf will cross your path. So I just ask that you pay attention to that over the past few days. Also in movies or art, even if you just in the store and you see a greeting card or a picture hanging on the wall of something fairy related, just be open, because those are all of the ways that the fairies connect with us. There's lots of fairy wisdom hidden in movies. I was recently watching Harry Potter again, and it was interesting to see the little fairies and pixies that are kind of spread throughout that movie series. And it's fun to see it with new eyes, because as a child, I don't think I even took it as seriously. We all know that, Disney movies make us happy, and when we see those kind of cartoons like the Smurfs, that we like that, or Tinkerbell, but a lot of us, even as children, didn't really take it seriously. And really that's an injustice to the fairy realm, because they are real, they are here, and once you start to work with them and see them so clearly, you'll realize that their presence is undeniable. And so tonight we're going to work with the fairies. We're going to do a few exercises on connecting with them and communicating with them, and then we're going to dive deeper into a long guided journey. I love to do guided journeys because they help people to find things out for themselves. When I hold space for a guided journey and take you to fairyland, you will receive your own messages, you will get visions, and the medicine is powerful. When we come out of those journeys, I find that I have a lot of glowing energy. About a week ago, I did a fairy class locally, and I felt like I was glowing after. I looked so different when I looked in the mirror, and I also noticed that I started to have really good luck, and I was very creative. Like, I started hosting art classes and things, and that's something that the fairies will do. They really work with our creativity, and they awaken the magic of our home, of our community, of playing and just having fun. So before I go further into class, I would like everyone to think of a wish that you would like, something that you would like the fairies to help with. Maybe it is something that is burdening your heart. Maybe it's a prayer for someone who is suffering. Think of one thing that is troubling you that you would like help with, and let's call in fairy help. Fairies help us in so many magical ways. We all know what the term fairy wishes means. Fairies help our wishes come true because they work with the beautiful, tangible magic of the universe. They help us to open our heart to miracles and bring in solutions in our everyday life. So we're going to get into a little more practical ways that we can work with the fairies, and how can the fairies help us. The fairies are powerful emotional healers and also physical healers, and they heal with joy. When we think about fairies and we connect with them, you might start to feel real hyper, giggly, happy, and it's very healing emotionally. They also help to heal our inner child, help us to skip and play and have fun. They also give us good luck. They help us with the animals in our life. I find when I work with the fairies, I'll start to sing and be more in tune with the animals around me, especially my cat. My cat's a white cat, and I feel there's kind of a few white fairies with my cat, and I notice that the fairies help me to hear the cat's messages more and connect with the spirit of my cat. The fairies also help us with environmental healing, and when I mean environmental healing, I mean all levels of environmental healing. Globally, helping us to change the environmental laws and protect the environment, but also locally, helping us to work with the fairies energetically to heal the land, the water, and to bless the trees and nature in our area. Once we connect with the fairies and awaken those energies, magical things happen because the earth and all the plants and trees are very receptive to our love and our awareness. I've even heard that as the vibration of the planet lifts, new trees and places are appearing, which is amazing. And that goes back to where the fairies are. They are in a parallel dimension or a higher dimension. So when we are shifting our vibration, shifting our dimension, which is the energy that we embody, we can sense the fairies. And I'll give you an example of this. When I went to the Redwood Forest, they have these giant magical trees in California, and when I would look at these trees, sometimes out of the corner of my eye, I'd see all these elves living there, but it was like in my mind's eye or kind of out of the corner of my eye. It was kind of like I was peering through dimensions, and many of us can peer through the dimension and see the fairies and hang out with them and travel around. And you will notice that the fairies live in a state of non-duality, which means they do not have the level of fear that we have on the human realm. So that's a major way that the fairies work with us, is to help us rise above the fear consciousness and connect with the joy of being. Which is an amazing state for natural healing of our physical body, our emotional body, and even increasing our luck. The fairies are very interested in children and animals, and you'll find that once you start working with the fairies, they'll probably inspire you to do special things for the children and animals in your life. And Carol said that she spent 2 hours at lunchtime in the back bush with the trees, birds, and squirrels, and she found an oak tree and the leaf dropped in front of her. Wow. And she's going to go back to collect sticks for wands and make picture frames. You know, Carol, I'll send you a picture, but I've been making acorn wands and things. And pine cone wands. I've been really into pine cones, and I was going to make like a pine cone mandala. But yeah, there's such amazing things out in nature. And it's funny, like since I moved out to the Pacific Northwest and started working with the fairies, I do more nature art. Like I make fairy houses out of bark and things, and I make wands and flower crowns, and it's really been fun. And I think the objects really bless people. They kind of awaken an energy, and I think that when we work with the fairies to create the crafts have a healing energy, because I know everyone I show them to, they get really excited. I will definitely send you pictures of those. So, yeah, you have collected fallen bark pine cones to make fairy houses. Yeah, it's really fun. I make pine cone roofs too. Like I pick the petals off of pine cones and I make shingles on the roof. I'll show you the big fairy house I made. And there, you know what I find too is there's so many more books on this. Like I was even in the health food store the other day, and there was like a big calendar on fairy houses. Like it's really becoming popular. And I was even watching a Hallmark movie recently, and the grandmother was from Ireland, and she was building a huge fairy garden, and it's totally accepted there in Ireland. So fairies also help us with home issues. If you'd like to purify the energy of your home, manifest a new home, and they're also great at decorating and feng shui. Sometimes I work with the fairies, and they'll guide me what to do. They'll like put a plant over here or a picture over here or declutter this area, and they also help with my garden. I do have a patio garden in the back, and the fairies really help me to pick plants and rearrange the plants and be in tune with the plants. And I found that once I started communicating with the plants, they got louder and louder to the point where they will call me in stores. Like the plant will say, I like you, I want to go home with you. And sometimes when I get a plant, it's for someone else. So the fairies know, they have a huge network. So maybe you're guided to buy a plant and then you take it home and then it tells you it's for someone else. Rosemary usually does not grow well for me, but I was at the nursery in the summer, and a special type of rosemary called blue rain rosemary spoke to me and said it liked me. And sure enough, when I brought that plant home, it's thriving, and it's a wonderful plant. And also, if a plant's very appreciated and loved, it will thrive. So we're going to connect with plants a little more later. I also wanted to talk about decorating and entertaining. The fairies are great at that. If you have a children's birthday party, last year one of my friends was hosting her child's birthday party, and nobody was RSVPing, and the girl was very stressed out, and I did a fairy blessing, and sure enough, she ended up with like 13 guests, and they had a lot of fun. So they really help with children's parties or holiday entertaining, ideas for decorating, cooking. Fairies are great at cooking. If you feel like you messed up your recipe or, your dinner's going wrong, I always call on the fairies, and they really inspire me to do things. They might also inspire you to do favors for those around you, bake cookies and cakes and do special little things. They love to bless those around us. The fairies are also great manifestors of money, jobs, friends, love, pets, whatever you are looking for. The fairies help with manifesting. And the reason they can help is that they are all-knowing. They have a huge network, and they know everything that's going on in the world, so they can kind of help you get out of your human mind, which may see limitation and see not see the possibilities available. The fairies help us break out of that and kind of shift our luck and help us believe in magical miracles and get out of our own way. Oh, wow. So Carol said she has 25 spider babies that she planted in the soil to be adopted for others to enjoy this winter. 15 are set to go to their new homes this weekend. 4 are for little girls who believe in fairies. Wow. I feel that each one of those plants probably is going home with some fairies too. I'm getting a lot of visions of Tinkerbell and the plants. Amazing. Fairies can also work with us to bless our jewelry. If you work with crystals or you create jewelry, the fairies can bless that and work with that, or consecrate objects, which means if you have a special necklace or you're going to give somebody a necklace as a present, that they can help bless that object. Fairies are a little more materialistic than angels. They love shiny objects. They love to give them as gifts, and they love to receive them. So if you have any jewelry, broken earrings, even gemstones or costume jewelry, rhinestones, things like that you want to give to the fairies as a gift, they love it. And if you don't have a yard, you can leave something like that in a special place in the park or somewhere that you're guided, or even in your house plant. The fairies also love chocolate and treats. But I find that as we tune into the fairies, they will tell us what they would like. So if you want to take a second, let's tune into the fairies and ask them if they would like any presents. Right away, I felt that they would like me to make them jewelry and put the jewelry on the plants, and I have been getting that message to make more garden jewelry. I recently visited my friend who has a balcony garden, and she had these beautiful things called garden jewelry, and they were just strings of beads that you hang on the plants, and it felt very happy. And I have been inspired to make that. I also had visions of making tutus and drawing fairies, so the fairies are really getting into that excitement of costumes and jewelry and luxury and enjoying those simple pleasures. And I feel a lot of us did that as children, so that's part of how they get our creativity and inner child energy flowing. Yeah, wind chimes, beads, jingle bells, and ribbons. Yeah, Carol, that's exciting. Get your creativity going and hold classes with others. You know, even if it's just having your friends over and have creativity gathering. You know, sometimes I do that. I'll get all the supplies and invite some friends over and you know, make a little tea party, and do creative things. It's really fun. Okay, so this is a great subject that I'm going to dive into just a little bit tonight. We're going to go a little more until, you know, we're going to go on a journey in a few minutes, but I would like to give a little more history about the fairies and these great subjects. And the first one is fairy past lives. If you're attracted to the fairy realm, if you work with the fairies, do fairy readings, read fairy books, a lot of us lived lives as fairies, fairies on other planets, fairies on this planet, fairies of inner Earth, and that's probably why you're drawn to fairies. So as you dive deeper into your work with the fairies, you may start to remember, and you may have had multiple lives as a fairy. When I look into my fairy history, I know I was connected to the roses, and I was like a flower fairy, definitely. And I also felt very connected to being a pixie and also like an elf in inner Earth. But I had many visions and many memories of my fairy past lives. And then I feel like in this life, I'm kind of channeling a lot of the traits from that life. For example, energy healing or working with crystals or communicating with plants and animals. Lots of those things are fairy traits. And they may also run in your family. You know, was your mother really good with animals? Was she an environmentalist? Also, a lot of creativity is a fairy trait. A lot of fashion designers or artists or musicians have that kind of fairy energy. We're also going to talk a little bit about the fairy ancient lands, such as Avalon and Elysium. I'm always looking for more information on this stuff because a lot of it's in our history, and then it became myth and lore. But you'll read stories of these ancient lands of the fairies and how humans connected with these fairies. And a lot of the stories have to do with them having magical powers. It's also connected to Merlin and King Arthur, unicorns, magical ancient forests. I find Europe has a lot of rich fairy history, and as we kind of explore this, the secrets of it unfold for us. So I would like you to look at your life if you had fairy signs. For me, as an artist, before I worked consciously with the fairy realm, I was always drawing fairies. And I didn't really realize that I just drew winged people with flowers on their heads, and so it was always in my mind. And so I started to uncover that more and more as I started working consciously with the fairies. I also realized that I was always drawn to fairy stickers, fairy movies, certain things like that there were fairy signs all around me. And I'll find that's kind of funny because you'll see people who are not into any of this stuff consciously, but they have Tinkerbell stickers all over their car and they have fairy posters in their house. So a lot of people are on with the fairy realm, whether they, quote, believe they're real or not. So fairy traits are also a deep sensitivity and an ability to be really healed by nature. And this is something I realized about myself, that I'm very empathic, and when I go near the forest, when I sit with the trees, when I'm with flowers, I feel so balanced that I feel like I need to always be outside. And it was funny that when I was in college, my friends would joke around and say I was kind of like a puppy because I couldn't stay inside for too many hours, and I always needed fresh air, and I needed to play in the forest. And I grew up like that too. My mother always brought us into the forest, and we played there all weekend. And so I was always somebody who needed to be outside, connecting with the plants and the trees, and an animal lover. I love all types of animals. So all those things are fairy traits. Also, if you're a potion maker, if you're attracted to creating flower essences, and mixing things, that's a real fairy trait too. So let's connect a little bit with our fairy traits and let the fairies show us. I do see we have a lot of animal healers, a lot of hands-on healers, a lot of channelers. I'm also feeling a lot of energy of Merlin. Merlin worked deeply with the fairy realm. Merlin was an ancient wizard connected with King Arthur, connected with magic, and he's really connected to the fairy realm. And a lot of us have Merlin as a spirit guide and are kind of connected to the energies of Merlin. I'd also like us to take a second to connect with those ancient fairy lands. Maybe we can have memories of them or connect with the energies of them and travel to them. They might even still exist on another dimension. So let's connect with those fairy realms a little bit, like Avalon, Elysium, and any other ancient fairy lands that would like to come through. And feel your energy system shift as we just talk about these fairy realms. You'll find with all of these spiritual things that your body will react to them. Like when we talk about the ancient fairy lands, we talk about flower fairies, your body might start to feel calmer. You might feel a sweet energy running through your aura. Pay attention to how you feel. And Carol said, would having an imaginary friend be a trait? Of course. I was just thinking about that because we connect with all these beings, and it's like we have imaginary friends. And you could be a fairy shaman, which means you can travel within the realms of the fairy realms. So you can connect with them even though they're not in physical form. Okay, so we're just going to do a little bit of fairy communication. I just want to talk about the three main ways that we connect with the fairies, and that's through inner sight, which is our inner eye. Sometimes when I close my eyes and I say, what messages do the fairies have for me, or what fairies are with me, or what fairies are in the forest that I'm in, I'll start to have visions in my inner eye. So that's a way that we can see in between dimensions into their realm, is with our inner sight, with our third eye. The second one is empathic feeling, and I think everyone feels this to an extent. You know, when you might walk into a magical forest that's filled with fairy energy, your body might feel really happy. You might feel a lightness. Your heart might open. And when you meditate with the fairies, you might start to feel that in your body too. I know that happens to me. My whole body feels free and light, and it feels more like I did when I was a little child, when I have this kind of excitement for life running through me, this joy running through me. And also, that's a way that the fairy healers work with us. Once we start to call in all the fairies, you might start to find waves of peace and healing going throughout your body. And the next way is through telepathy, which is inner hearing. When we talk to the fairies, we can listen in our minds, and that's a great way that we can channel. We can actually see fairies in front of our eyes. Occasionally I do, but it's kind of shocking. I do see them as flashing lights, though. A little light will just start flashing. I have seen them appear to me before, but it's kind of like I get shocked. So I think a lot of us aren't ready to see them all the time in front of our eyes. We're gently adjusting to that. And Carol said Fairy Shaman book fell off the shelf yesterday. Yeah. That's been coming up a lot lately, too, because I think that is a deeply healing shamanic thing, to travel to fairy realm, to the fairy realm and receive healing. And we're going to do that a little later, is travel to different realms within the fairy world to connect with the energies and commune with earth and the butterflies and the trees, and I'm really excited about that. So let's take a second to connect with the fairies. And Let's see how you connect with fairies. You might connect with fairies in all three ways. You might see them, feel them, and hear them. I see a lot of unicorns with us tonight, a lot of gnomes. I also see a lot of fairy healers. I think we have a lot of healers with us, a lot of people that do hands-on healing, and the fairies are working with you. That's a major part of their realm. They love hands-on healing. They use that a lot. I also see pet communication on all levels, listening to animals, working with animals, healing animals, and also children and creativity. So many beautiful gifts, artists, music. They're just giving me lots of messages about working with everyone, and they're saying follow the joy of your spirit. Do the things that you love to do and create magic in your world. Fairy Shaman? Oh, yeah, that book sounds good. I have noticed a lot more fairy books have been coming up. I've been reading 40 Years with the Fairies, and it has little stories that this lady channeled, and she was English. It's a little old-fashioned, the book, and the stories are amazing. They're deeply about how the fairies work with plants and trees and the names of fairies and the fairies' concept of God, and it really has a lot of great energy. Yeah, and the names of the fairies are amazing. I was reading today that there are tree fairies, but each tree has many fairies, and that the bark of the trees is very receptive and it loves to be touched. So when we hug a tree, we touch a tree, it really feels it and appreciates that loving touch. Yeah, the trees love for you to hug them too. And I find that's a major way we connect with trees is through empathy. I always feel like I have to lean on trees and touch them, and I can feel my energy become one with theirs. Trees are also very wise grandfathers, a lot of them. When I went to the redwood forest, I found that they were deeply ancient, all-knowing beings. And when I would sit with the trees in the redwood forest, I was by Crescent City, California. The trees started downloading all kinds of information for me, telling me about my past lives, my destiny, everything, and it was like such an amazing energy. And I've always been drawn to the redwoods, and then I started reading a book about how the redwoods are ancient protectors of the West Coast. Okay, so we're going to do one more or two more fairy exercises, then we're going to dive into the healing journey. Yeah, the redwoods are amazing, Carol. Yeah. They are very high energy. Where are you located, Carol? Are you in Canada? I can't remember. You're in southwestern Ontario, Canada. You have a lot of nature magic up there, too. I mean, I was recently up in Victoria and Vancouver, BC, and I went up to Whistler, and it was amazing. The nature was so untouched by man, the giant waterfalls and the forest, and it was amazing. I just wanted to keep going north to like Alaska. I do feel Canada has a lot of great nature magic. Okay, so the next exercise, this is really fun. I've been doing this all week, is to hold out your hand and invite a fairy to land in your hand and connect with this fairy. Deeply look at it, listen to it, feel it, and see if it has any messages for you. So just hold out your hand. You can close your eyes and just gently, with your heart, set that intention that you would like a fairy to land in your hand. Feel it tickle your palm. I feel a frog, actually, with me, too. I saw a fairy on my hand, and then a little frog was with it. And maybe it was riding the frog somehow, or maybe it was his friend. But so I've been doing this all week, and different fairies have been coming. You got a dragonfly? Yeah. Sometimes the fairies shapeshift into those creatures, too. Lately, like at certain times, little white flying bugs will fly around me in swarms, but they feel very magical, and when I look deeper, I feel like they might be fairies. So it's like, every being, we look deeper, we're not sure. It could be a fairy, too. And it's all, yeah. And so when I talk to the frog in my hand, it just says, come out and play with me in the forest. And every time I hear the frog sing, I do feel a lot of heart healing, a lot of grounding heart healing, just communing with the earth, being with the forest, being in my heart. And they kind of rearrange my priorities to the simple pleasures of life. So, Carol, you saw a dragonfly. Did it give you any messages? And next we are going to I would like you guys to meditate a little on where your family ancestry is from. My family was from Poland, Italy, and Ireland. And when I started to connect with those places on the earth and the fairies that were there, it was amazing. So I'd like you to scan the world map and look at where your family comes from, and then start to feel the fairies of the area. And if you look from the different countries, Alaska, South America, Asia, you can kind of tune in and feel the energies of the fairies. I used to travel a lot to China for my job, and years later when I started to work with the fairies, I started connecting with the fairies in China. And I've even had visions of fairies in India, and they might dress differently, they may look differently. It's fascinating. A fairy hotspot right now is also Iceland. Oh, so Carol, that's what the fairies told you to do, growing from seeds, harvesting, making teas, herbal bath soaks. That's amazing. That all feels amazing. When I started working deeply with the fairies, they would really tell me to make flower essences, and every time I followed through and did what they said, that essence would have amazing energy and would heal me a lot, and then I would share it with family and friends. So they do have amazing advice for making things like that and sharing your passion of crystals. Do you teach, Carol? I keep getting visions of you teaching in groups. Totally. And it's something to do with all of this stuff, because I think, I find that a lot of people get intimidated by doing these things on their own, but when we hold space for them to, do things like this, it's really helpful. But, yeah, I keep seeing that. You doing this stuff in groups and sharing it with others, even if it's just having a little party with your friends. Yeah, that's good. I find as an artist and somebody who loves this stuff, sometimes, like, if I really want to make sure I make time for something, I invite others to do it. Like, I'll, invite everyone over to make wands or crowns or do fairy art. Yeah. Yeah, the fairies keep saying that you're a teacher and you hold space. So, Carol, where's your ancestry from? And do you feel drawn to the fairies on any part of the planet when you scan the world map? Sometimes lately, this is the way I connect with fairies all over the world and forests all over the world, is I look at a map and I just send healing energy. Hi, Janine. You're right in time. We didn't start our guided journey yet. We were just scanning the map. Russia and Brazil, yeah. There's a lot of deep forests there in both of those places, rainforests and things. And I find also that when I scan this map, I start to see, I connect with all of the forests, all of the planets, the deep forests in Europe, the rainforests, Alaska, like Iceland, all of these places. It's a great way to send healing. So let's take a second to send healing to the earth, to the whole earth with the fairies. Connect with the fairies of the earth. And you'll find, like lately, there's been a lot of environmental turmoil is coming up because we're deeply working with the fairy realm to shift the laws and protect the environment, and it's a blessing. It's coming to the surface because we're just bringing more awareness to this stuff, and I feel a lot of good energy around that. And the more each and every one of us connects with the fairies on a personal level, we lift the veil for all humans to feel the messages of the fairies. And it might be just nudges. Sometimes you don't even know you're consciously connecting with the fairies, but you'll kind of do something fairy-like, and then later you'll realize that the fairies inspired it. And Carol, you said that the oak tree asked you to send love to the new trees from the forest fires that need encouragement and support. Yes, and that's interesting. You talked about forest fires because we had some by us, like I think it was like last summer, and they got so bad that the air was like you couldn't even breathe. And I remember when that happened, I really stopped and prayed and helped the forest fires with the fairies, and then they kind of went away quickly, but we can work with the fairy realm when it comes to forest fires and also weather, extreme weather. We get a lot of rain by me, and sometimes when it was raining really hard, I would call on the fairies to stop the rain so I can get home peacefully, and they'd always help right away. And another thing is if you're lost, the fairies can help you because they're master navigators. If you're lost anywhere, lost in the woods or lost driving, they'll help you. And another thing is they'll help you if a wild animal is bothering you. If you're afraid of a stray dog or an animal in the forest, they really help you. Once I did a fairy class, and I was talking about that, and I never really had to use it, but then I was jogging outside, and a dog started chasing me. And I remember getting this download, and the dog was 3 feet away from chasing me, and it stopped and just looked at me, barked in my face, and then ran the other way. And I remember having this feeling like, I just work with the fairies, I'm protected. And I told the fairies to tell the dog to leave me alone, and then it looked at me and ran away, and I'm so grateful. So I remind everybody to have those tools. If you're stuck in the snow or your car's, lost, call on the fairies. And I never get lost in the forest because I hike a lot, and I also find if I'm lost somewhere, they always help right away. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start our fairy guided meditation. And as I shift the subjects of the meditation, I will be changing the slides. If you guys want to look at the screen, or you can look at it later, we're going to be traveling to different kingdoms of the fairy realm and commuting with the energetic medicine of that kingdom. We'll be going to Crystal Kingdom, to the Butterfly Kingdom, the Tree Kingdom, Plant Kingdom, Sky Kingdom, and we're just going to kind of feel the energies of these realms. So if you want to take a second, let me know if you need a second break to break for a second, or if you're ready to start on the guided meditation, I just recommend that you get comfortable and relax and be receptive. During the guided meditation, you might have visions or feel healing energy. Most of all, it's important for you to be open to receive whatever would like to come through for you. And this will be recorded, so you may want to listen to it again. And I will make an MP3 of it for everybody. So are you guys ready to start, or do you need a break? Yes, MP3 is good. I will definitely send you an MP3. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to just gauge how long. I'll probably go around 20 minutes or so. But if I go a little longer, I'm just going to kind of feel the energy. All right, so we are going to connect with the fairies and open the gates to their realm. I would like you to take a deep breath and breathe in the healing light of the universe, and breathe out any stress or heaviness. And with each breath, feel the gates of the fairy realm lifting. Feel the veil lifting, the dimensions merging into one as your heart and soul are connecting with your fairy guides. Take a deep breath and know that this is an energetic journey that you will feel with your entire body. Open your energy field now to the healing energies of the fairy realm, the joyous energies that are pouring through to connect with you. Feel a team of your fairy guides approaching you. Look deeply into their faces and take note of how they look and feel to you. As they approach you, they are doing more energy attunements on you, attuning your aura and chakras, helping you to connect with them on a deeper level, and also helping you to connect with you, helping you to shed all that does not mirror the joy and beauty of your truest self. Letting go of all grief, fear, worry, stress, limitation, and awakening your childlike essence, the true light of your spirit once again. Take a deep breath and know that this is effortless. This is the consciousness of the fairy realm. As we shed the belief systems and fears and heaviness of the human plane, we ask to be an ambassador between the fairy and human plane, a bridge. We ask to open the veils on earth to the fairy realm once again so that all humans can hear, feel, and communicate with the fairies. We welcome the fairies into our life. We welcome them as friends, as mentors, and teachers. We welcome them to share their inspiration and clarity regarding our life purpose and increasing our level of joy and healing. Continue to breathe and receive as the fairies attune you and your energy field to their realm. Feel your body lightening as all denseness is lifting. Feel the sparkly fairy energy winding around you, sifting away any stress or heaviness deep, deep within your aura, lifting it away, clearing it deeply. Now imagine that a doorway is opening in the room that you are in right before you. It is the doorway to the fairy dimension. It is a parallel dimension. As we walk into this dimension, the fairies greet us with enthusiasm. They fly all around, greeting us, hugging us, sending us love. They are so excited to connect with us. Feel your fairy team now. Meet each one. Ask them their names and pay close attention to their outfits, the color that they are, and what they look like. What do their wings look like? Also notice if any other fairy guides or animals come through. Maybe you have a unicorn or an animal spirit guide. Maybe a deer. A reindeer came before class to connect. I think the reindeers are coming through because it's Christmas time soon. So just be open and receptive to any animals, fairies, elementals that would like to connect with you. These are your spirit family. These friends have been with you for a very long time, and they are so excited to connect with you once again. Feel their joy, their music, their laughter and singing all around you. Now take a tour of their world. See the trees and the forest. Notice the energy of their world. Does it feel different than the human world? How do you feel emotionally, physically? Does your energy feel different here? Take note of awakening these beautiful fairy energies within your chakras. Notice your spirit light shining brighter and brighter as you shed all that is unlike your truest essence. We are now going to connect with the plant kingdom. The plant fairies are greeting us. See them as every size. Little fairies made of leaves, green fairies, fairies that are guarding all of the plants and herbs and food. These plants would like to commune with you. Notice if a specific plant comes to say hello, such as peppermint, rosemary, maybe a healing herb, such as basil or thyme. Notice what comes through if you have any visions, and share your aura with the plant. Plants like to connect with us on a deep empathic level. Feel that you are communing with these plants. You are one with them. As you greet the plant kingdom, the fairies are taking you on a tour, showing you how important the greenness is, how each plant has a beautiful spirit and has a shining energy. When you meet a new plant, you can share your love with it. Plants love your attention. Let us imagine now that these green plants are connecting with us on a deep level, washing through our aura and energy field. And remember that you are a pure light essence. You can travel anywhere, and your pure consciousness can become one with anything. That is why fairies can change their size and form, because they remember that they are pure light essence, and so are you. Connecting with the deep healing energies of the plant system. If any area of your body would like to connect with the plants, just be open to that. As the healing energy of the plants would like to come through and bind with your cells. They are your sacred family. Now send a wave of thank you to the plant kingdom. Promise to continue to work with them and be in tune with them. They may call out to you in gardens or at the supermarket. We are now opening the way for communication with the plant kingdom. Next, our fairy guides are taking us to the butterfly kingdom. Now imagine that you are walking into a beautiful forest filled with monarch butterflies. Beyond the monarch butterflies, there are butterflies of all different colors. Notice what color butterfly would like to connect with you. It may be a color that you've never even seen before. Just be open to whatever comes through. Feel these butterflies flying around you in circles and releasing stress. Feel your heart open as you connect with these beautiful energies. Feel your heart open and feel that you connect with your own butterfly wings. Imagine that you are shape-shifting into a butterfly fairy. Feel the beautiful, joyous consciousness of the butterfly kingdom. From this giant swarm of butterflies, one butterfly fairy emerges. She looks human-like, but also has fairy butterfly wings and fairy patterns on her skin. As she talks to you telepathically, she reminds you of butterfly magic. She invites you to her beautiful kingdom. Butterflies are here to help us open our heart, travel to the heavenly realms, and express our creativity and joy. If you feel limited by your human self, connect with the butterfly kingdom to connect with the unlimited energy of your spirit. Welcome these beautiful butterfly energies into your chakras and aura now. Commune with the butterflies and fly with them all over the planet in spirit. They are amazing travelers, and they help us to become unstuck. Imagine that you are flying forward with the butterflies now. They are part of your kindred soul family. As your spirit flies free with the butterflies for a little longer, notice layers of heavy energy shedding and releasing as your spirit becomes lighter. Now look at your back and see that you have big, beautiful butterfly wings. Pay attention to what they look like. What color are they? Now the butterfly queen touches your third eye and gives you beautiful visions of butterflies. She reminds you of the healing power of color. You see vibrant butterflies fly through your mind in every shade of the rainbow. You feel their colors healing your body, mind, and spirit. As you bid the butterfly fairy kingdom farewell, your fairy guides now escort you to yet another kingdom on the fairy realm, the tree kingdom or the tree network. All trees are connected on the planet. All trees are living beings with wisdom and healing powers. Let us connect with their gentle energy now. We can connect with any tree on the planet in spirit. We can even travel to the redwood forest. Trees are powerful healers and wise ones. Let us open our heart to the trees on the planet now and the trees on the fairy realm. The fairies are now giving us an attunement to connecting with the trees. Feel the trees with your entire body. Feel the trees on the whole planet. Feel them with your heart. If any specific tree guides would like to connect with you, pay attention. It can be a tree from anywhere in the world. Feel the beautiful branches, bark, and leaves. Feel the energy of them. Listen to the tree's wisdom. Does the tree have any messages for you? The trees are helping you now to be grounded, centered, and rooted into your spirit and into the beautiful healing energies of Mother Earth. The trees now are teaching us how to deeply root into the healing energies of Mother Earth. Imagine that you are a tree and that your feet are connected to beautiful roots that connect with the healing core, the energetic core of Mother Earth. Pay attention if any specific names of trees are coming up for you. And allow any other tree guides to show themselves to you. You may see trees with faces or trees welcoming you. Maybe there's a certain tree in your area that is calling to you. Feel wherever you are filling up with trees as you are magically transported into an ancient forest. Feel and know that you can travel to this ancient forest with your spirit at any time. As we bid the trees farewell, our fairy guides are now taking us to visit the sky kingdom of clouds and rainbows, where the weather originates from. We're connecting with the fairies of the air that fly high up above the earth. The rainbow fairies are coming through and sharing their beautiful rainbow energy. Feel it wrap around you and bind with your cells as you feel what it's like to be a rainbow fairy, to be made of rainbow light. Feel the joy that the rainbow gives the earth and all who see it. Feel the energy of the clouds and the freeness of flying through the air and being one with the sky. Feel the rain and the wind and all of the beautiful energies of the sky and weather. Be one with all of those. Pay attention to the fairies of the sky. What do they look like? Do they have any messages for you? They are travelers, and they would like to help you to travel and feel free and light in your body. Next, we are traveling deep into inner earth with the fairies to connect with the minerals and the crystals deep within earth. The beautiful healing gems of the earth. We can lay on their crystal beds and receive nurturing energies. We can connect with the clay and the minerals and stones within the earth too. Meet all of these fairies. They have gifts for you and creative inspiration. They are awakening you to the secret magic of the healing layers of earth. We can travel deep within the earth and become one with all of these crystals and minerals and stones, and even the lava, the fire fairies of the lava. Take a tour of inner earth and all of the fairies that are working there, the elves, the dwarfs, the gnomes. They all have different jobs. The crystal fairies watch over the crystals. The gnomes work deep within the earth, purifying the soil. The dwarfs make jewelry with the crystals. Pay attention to any visions you have. I also am connecting with ancient elf lands. Just be open to whatever fairies would like to connect with you from inner earth and connect with the crystal kingdom. The fairies are giving you a beautiful crystal tiara now and reminding you that you can always come back to visit them in spirit. They go unnoticed. Certain trees are gateways to their land. Certain trees cover portals into inner earth. The fairies are now deeply attuning you to Mother Earth, the way that they have been attuned to Mother Earth. Fairies' heart and soul are one with the healing energies of the earth itself. Feel your energy system awakening to Mother Earth, attuning to Mother Earth. Feel the sigh of relief as this feels like something that is so normal, so natural, and so therapeutic. Feel your hands and feet on the earth, just like a cat or a dog would walk on all fours. Your hand chakras and feet chakras allow the earth energy to come in and nurture your entire body. The fairies are teaching you ways to heal with the earth and the trees and the minerals and the plants. Be open to their information and know that they would continue to share their information with you. They are sending healing energy to your spine, internal organs, purifying your aura. They are also giving you a burst of soul passion, reminding you to express yourself, your creativity, and most of all, enjoy your life. As they deeply awaken your heart chakra, awakening your childlike joy, helping you to be grounded into your physical existence, enjoying your physical existence, touching, smelling, tasting, communing with the plants and animals and people around you, truly enjoying life from your heart center. Now, I would like you to receive a gift from the fairies. They are presenting a gift to you. It may be a special gift with special meaning. Maybe a wand that gives you courage, or a crown that reminds you that you are divine, or maybe a beautiful fairy robe that helps you know that you are protected. Receive this gift from the fairies with an open heart and thank them. Now listen to any messages that the fairies would like to give you. Maybe it's advice about your future. Also notice any visions they may give you of your future, or maybe your next step. Just be receptive to their messages now. The fairies are all-knowing. They know our secret dreams, our secret fate, our secret wishes. They help us to make a bridge towards them, helping us to surrender to our truest self, helping us to get in the joyous flow of life. Imagine now that you are a fairy and you are flying with your fairy guide team forward, flying forward in the universe towards greater happiness than ever before, towards the things that truly feel right for you, towards the natural flow of your life. The fairies are now giving you a boost of energy. So just be open and receptive to this beautiful boost of energy, awakening the joy of your spirit, your creative passion, your life purpose, or healing energy, anything that you need. Just feel this beautiful boost of fairy energy. They are helping you to connect with the unlimited energy of Source, of the universe, the spiritual energy that is always available to us. Connecting with that true source of energy now, as the fairies help us to realign with ourselves. The fairies are gently lifting away any parts of fear or darkness within our energy field, any traumas, any energy blockages, gently and effortlessly lifting those away so that our chi and life force is free to circulate, so that our spirit is free, and that we are totally aligned, body, mind, and spirit now, totally in harmony, totally in joy. Now the fairies help us to come back into this present moment. They bid us farewell, but remind us that they are always here, always working with us. They are just a call away. Take a deep breath and ground into the earth and this present moment. Touch your third eye and imagine that you are totally present in your body, sitting in the center of your head. Know that the fairies will continue to work with you all week, and that you will remember the messages that you have received. Come back to the present moment, back from fairyland, back into the room that you're sitting in, and take a deep breath and relax. If you have a pen and paper, you may want to write down any visions or messages that you have received, and please share if you would like in the chat. That was an amazing meditation. I know I'll listen to it again. And sometimes when I do those meditations, I never really know what's going to come through. But mostly today, the fairies wanted to work with us on shifting our consciousness, because there's been so many changes, earth changes, political changes, so many global issues, that they really wanted to lift the veil of stress, collective stress, and help us to reconnect with our spirit, our light, and our childlike joy once again. I also felt a lot of life purpose and gifts awakening for everybody, that the fairies are helping everybody with their creative passions, potion making, herbalism, art, healing work, all of that stuff. Sometimes we may doubt ourselves. We think, oh, that's not that important, or, it's just a hobby, and we may not dedicate time to it, and the fairies are reminding us what is a priority in our life. So Carol and Janine, how are you guys doing? Check in the chat if you get a second. We'll wrap up in a few minutes because I know we started a little late. But please share anything you would like to share. I also felt that when we work with the Crystal Kingdom a lot today, that a lot of people are crystal healers and jewelry makers, and the fairies are really coming through to say that they help bless and inspire your work. So let's close the circle together, close this beautiful healing fairy circle. We're going to send a wave of love from our heart to the fairies, thanking them for spending this beautiful time with us, and thanking them for their knowledge, their gifts, and their healing, and asking them to continually work with us, and also asking that we be open to their messages, that we be aware of them and how they are working with us. Pay attention to the animals that you see in the next few days, and pay attention to the fairy signals, because they're all around you. Interesting, during the journey, we didn't go to the flower realm. I was actually planning to, but it didn't come through, so that's interesting. So I'm blessing everybody, and thank you for attending, and we will wrap up in a few minutes. Carol, please let me know how you're doing. She said that the fairies, their names were hard to spell, yet she knew how to pronounce them, and she saw opal rainbow fairy wings. Beautiful. I was reading a book, and the lady worked with over 30 fairies, and then I started to make a list of the fairies that work with me, and the names were hard to spell. You know, they were kind of like these like sound downloads, and I was having trouble writing them out. But just connecting with the names of your fairy guides has healing downloads. It's really good. And Janine said she felt like the fairies are all in her garden and they're really happy. Yeah. And you know, sometimes when we do this fairy realm work, it opens the way like never before. I know when I started working with the fairies, it was like I couldn't stop. I would just start to see them more and more, all types of places. And tree healing is coming up a lot. They want everyone to pay attention to if you see faces in the trees, because I find as the dimensions rising on the planet, more and more tree faces are appearing. It's really interesting to me. I've noticed that a lot, especially in my neighborhood. All the trees have these faces on them, and they're so like obvious. It's like a giant tree face. And Carol says she saw a female fairy, tiny yet strong-willed, and is that her name, Maintra? Ooh, beautiful. Beautiful. The fairy's name was Maintra. Miantra. It sounds like Miantra. Miantra. So, Carol, while you're still here, let me know if you have any questions for the fairies. I can ask the fairies for you, or any questions about the way you work with the fairies. Let me know if you have any questions. You too, Janine, before we wrap up. Carol, I did see the fairies working deeply with you with your herbalism and the things that you mix and make, that creative herbalism stuff. Totally. And I also saw you making shampoos and lotions. How can you connect more with the fairies? I do feel meditation helps, but I do feel you have a few blocks from, it looks like karmic persecution life, times when you were forbidden by the church or your family to talk to the fairies. So when you remove those subconscious blocks, you'll be more freely able to connect with the fairies. That's what I feel. So you might want to do a little past life healing on that. And, you know, as I started to work deeply with the fairies, I felt there was a lot of forbidden energy around it. I think throughout centuries, it was kind of taboo in many ways. It was even considered crazy or you know, sacrilegious or something. So as we lift those up, we're reclaiming our freedom to talk to the fairies again. But sometimes that energy can be very hidden within us. So I'll send you some prayers for that. I do see breath helps a lot when you're doing fairy readings. Take a lot of deep breaths. And I also saw writing, just practicing channeling. That's an easy way to get out of your own way. Just, you know, write down questions and listen to the fairies. I also saw fairy arts, and fairy movies are good for you. And fairy prayer, they're saying make sure you pray and ask for the fairies to connect, and then you'll start to get like really strong messages just when we ask. welcome. So thank you for attending. Let me know if you have any more questions. I'm going to close the classroom. And Carol, thank you for your patience with the technical difficulties earlier. And thanks for telling me that you couldn't hear me. I think I need a new microphone. You're welcome. Thank you all for attending. Please keep in touch if you had any fairy experiences or anything happens. I know I'll share with all of you if anything happens over the next few days. Yeah, I think the fairies made us work for it, honestly. Sometimes they make technical difficulties they're like testing us to see if we're really committed or something. Sometimes when I told you, I don't know if the mic was on before, but sometimes when I do fairy events, like people get lost and they have to work to get to the place, like really look for it. One time I was lost and then I lost my purse, and the fairies brought me to this place, and I didn't even have any directions to go to a fairy class. So sometimes they kind of do sneaky things before a class. I think it helps us to like not take things so seriously and just kind of live in the moment. But